asked to give. Okay. So thanks for coming. This was precipitated. I put this together in less than a week because what happened was I started seeing a lot of requests for people. Oh, what should I name my company? How should I name it? Blah blah blah. The challenge is that it's great to do that, and that's part of what you should do. But the problem is that before you even get there, you should be thinking about at least a few things, okay? Because the names you get back may not comport to what's going to be allowed, and that would be a shame. So what I'm going to tell you is that basically what you want to think about it is like the legs of a chair, right? In my opinion, there's four main parts, and maybe others. I gave you some links to look at here, one from Forbes and one from Inc. about naming your company. Um, One's really old in the tooth, but you know what? They're all basically still the same. Um, I go through. I'm giving you an order to do it because for me, I find that it's more simplistic to do it in this order, right? So the first thing I would say is think about the first leg of the stool is the marketing name, right? Now, one of the things is you should also start thinking about, am I going to distinguish between a product and a company, or am I going to make them the same? Either is okay. It's just whatever you guys want, okay? But, you have to start thinking about it. How does it all work? And is the name. Now, I will tell you that the four main stool pieces, right, legs, are the marketing name, the domain name, which is going to get a URL for it, the Secretary of State for your state, which in this case is California, making sure you can actually get the name, and then of course the USPTO for trademark rights. So that's going to be the four I'm going to go through really fast today. I'll take questions. But the point is when you're doing the marketing names, going out, getting polls, you can do that if you've already got a sense of what you want, okay? My sense is that polling for a name might be done afterwards, all right? So basically, pick 4 or 5 names if you're not sure, all right? And then start looking to see which domain name you really do like. Because I'm going to pop down to the domain name now, okay? Because the domain name, honest to goodness, is going to be the hardest one to find. Everybody in the universe has already figured out a four-letter acronym, or five, or some cute little name, right, .com. So sometimes what you may want to do is go on the internet and do this. They've also got name generators, right? So, made up names or something like that you may be able to use. There may be 6, 7, 8 characters, but at least they're pronounceable. That's the other thing. Whatever you do, get something that's pronounceable, okay? Because when you start looking for a domain name, obviously you can't use special characters either. So you're going to need, you can use like an 8 in forever, or, you can play little games with things like that, right? Like the security guys do. So figure out, like I said, in your marketing and your objectives, what it is you really want to be known as. And then take a step back and start to look for, I give you whois.net to go look to see if that domain, that name is available, .com. Be very careful in using just a Google search or using GoDaddy or anything like that to go searches for domain names, because what ends up happening is, I don't know if this is true or not, but why take the chance is that if people notice that you're starting to look for names, and you don't buy it right away, and you say, that's available, but let me go look at these other 5, right? What ends up happening is somebody else could step in and buy that and then try to sell it to you.
I've had that happen.
Right, so that's no bueno.
Yep.
So I'm just telling you, before you even think about it, you can do, whois.net is pretty clean. And that's why I'm giving it to you. But if you start using any other things like Google or any other thing, you could be in a problem.
Yep.
All right. So, and normally what I would say to you is, if you have one that you really like, buy it, because what is it going to cost you? 10, 12 bucks? Find your server, company, whatever you want, and just buy that one. Because what you can do, which I've done, is you can redirect links. So say later on you find, oh, that's not really the one we're going to use. We're going to use this other guy, right? Well, guess what? You can go get that one and just redirect it to the other one.
Yep.
Who cares? And you can decide which one you want or not want or whatever. But it's just one of those things that one of the other things you may want to think about is a typical typo error. Like let's say you do forever, right? The character for EVER. Let's suppose that's actually available. Forever for you, right? And then you get that domain name, and then you're like, oh my God, people can't find you because what they're doing is they're typing in for, F-O-U-R or something, right? So you may want to consider other things if you want. Now, be aware that that's all costly. So it's a risk reward benefit that you have to think about when you do that. Okay. So those are just little caveats. It's not even in the notes. You notice I say, my suggestion is don't ever use a US account, .us. Huh. Oh, when you buy your account, always, always, always make sure you click that you pay extra for the privacy.
Yes.
It is more than worth it, because what that does is DNIC always broadcasts, part of the whole route is to broadcast all the information about the ownership. If you pay for the privacy, what you're doing is you're hiding everything personal about you, because you got to give your phone number, your address, your name. And the .us account, I paid for privacy. I bought a .us account because I said, well, my name, Ray, Freiwirth, .us. Why not, right? Guess what? I got about 30 Chinese calls. I don't even speak Chinese. These guys were calling me. And so what happens is that I called up GoDaddy. This is who I happen to use. And I said, what's going on, man? I paid for this. And they said, oh, you don't get any privacy when you do a .us. I said, are you kidding me? Where does it say that when you buy it? Yeah. Don't do it, okay? You don't need the phone calls, trust me. All right, third leg. And once again, we're going to go back for questions, so don't worry. All of this, and hopefully you'll get an email with all these links. Secretary of State. This is really critical, because guess what? You can't have an LLC or C Corp or any partnership or anything in the state if you can't get the name. And the Secretary of State is pretty strict about this. So if you click on this guy, what it actually is, it worked, yay. And it tells you about name of availability and what you have to go through and stuff like that, okay? And then you can go click on this, and there is a search here someplace. I'll find it in a second. Or did I put it down here? Oh yeah, there it is. There's your business search. So the other links are to help you find it. And, oops, sorry. In here someplace, search tips. There it is, yeah, it's further down. So for me, this is my company. I actually happen to do this. Now, what's going to be interesting is it may not find it because I'm actually registered in DC. Long story. But I can also then, let me do a new search. Okay, so you guys see what I'm doing, right? Pretty straightforward. Didn't find anything. Damn it. So Blue Water. There should be some listings for that.
Wait, I can't see.
Oh, you can't see this?
I can't see it. No, I can't see it. Go back to, when you go to the share, do your share, your,
Yep, sorry about that.
it's okay, it's okay.
You said something. Let me share, how do you share the?
So click on the little green, at the bottom where it says share screen. Then after you click on that, click on the one that says desktop.
Oh, screen. Okay, got it. Okay, so now you should see my entire screen, right?
Yep, got it.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to type in here blue. Just blue. Okay. And there you go. And then you're going to see a
There it
whole
is.
bunch of things. Blue sky, blue heron. Obviously, you can, I think, I don't know if it does this. Arrow search. Yeah, there it is. It pulled up blue water. So you can do a space, okay? And then if you see in here someplace, there's 17 entities. You can go through here. And the trick is, it's got to be, the neat thing is you notice how many blue waters there are, but then they've got other things, right? So that's the takeaway. That's what I just wanted to show you on this, is that you can have something that's fairly similar for the Secretary of State. That may become a later issue with trademark, but for this, it's not, okay? It just needs to be different. Is that clear? Okay.
Yeah.
That's all good. All right. Let me go back to this now. So that's the Secretary of State. So now what you've done is you've thought up your name, maybe a couple of them. You've gone and gotten the domain, the one you like the best. You've now gone and looked to the Secretary of State. You looked at the name availability just to see how it's done. Then you went to check it. You look good. You want to do this before you get a letter back from the Secretary of State saying, sorry, you can't have that name. Because guess what? That would totally suck, right? You just spent a lot of time, effort, and money, and it's just a pain. You may have even thought of a logo, and you may have thought of a branding scheme and all this stuff, and it's all gone. And like that. So I'm trying to help you guys think ahead so that you lessen the chance of that happening, okay? The last part is the patent office one. And I know I've talked to a few people about this. And for me, it's simple. For you guys, maybe not so much. But you see, on here, what I said is, hey, you know what? There's a whole videos. There's a bunch of videos that you can actually just listen to. I think they're about 10 or 15 minutes long. They're not long, but they at least give you an idea of what it is about. Okay? So now we're going to do a basic search. The things are here. All right. So, whoops. Oh, okay. So let's see if this works. No. Ah, all right. So that's good. I'm glad I did this. So you guys are going to see something. Let us see if this works. Yes. Ah, all right. You saw what I did, right? Basically, just get rid of all that.
Uh-huh.
Just take the main part of the URL and use that, and it'll get you here. All right, so obviously I copied it. I'll fix that, or if I get the email, then I will work that out with you guys as well. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to do a basic word mark search because there's no logos, just check for it. And what we're going to do is we're going to look for blue water again. How many people here think that I'm going to find something? Wait a second, where do I see hands raised, right? If I go back. Oh, I see. If I'm sharing the screen, I can't really see things, huh?
Yeah.
That's too bad. Okay, doesn't matter. You guys are still awake, right? That's all that matters. What's going to happen here is I am going to do this and I'm going to submit the query. All right. And if you notice, there are, it looks like 1,700, I think there's 1,721 combinations. 416, sorry. Right. And then, yeah. All right, so it's you don't have to worry about the 721. 416 is what you're looking at. And then you notice there's a couple dead. The problem is that let's suppose you wanted infinity blue water. So now you know that's probably not a good idea. It's a live mark. You can go look at it. You just clicked on it. However, now you notice, oh, wait a second. They're doing drinking water, bottled water, Ripple, and then look to see who actually owns it, because that's going to be really incredibly important. Okay, Aqua Livings, that's an actual company. That's a big company. So if you're going to be close to this in a service where you're doing something with liquid, probably not a good idea, right? Because when you go look at the links I gave you for the videos, they're going to talk to you about confusion. That's what trademark is about. It's about branding and making your brand distinctive from everybody else. And so that when people go into a supermarket and they go and they say, oh, I want that Ripple, right? And they grab it. And then there's something else called Riddle or Ripley right next to it. Now they get, oh, wait, which one did I want? And the bottles look the same, right? That's not a good thing. What will happen is Ripple will turn around. Whoever is the owner of the trademark that predates the rest of the guys is going to put a cease and desist out on the other guys. All right. Now, that probably will never happen to you. And that's why I put it towards the end. Okay. And I don't mind if you run into a problem with this, I can at least give you some guidance. I won't give you legal guidance, all right, because I'm just mentoring you, but I can at least give you some idea about how to use this, all right? And this is all to save you money, because if you're going to go to an attorney, it's going to be at least $300 to $500 an hour.
Yep.
Okay, I know, because I am one. So that's not the way I work, but it is the way everybody else works, okay? So I think I've gone through all the major points. See, this is what I was getting. The requested URL was not found.
Oh yeah, so sorry about that. Yeah, no. Typically, if you go through the link in your Gmail, it should work, and I think it's because it's not Gmail. That's maybe why.
Well, I just want to show you. This is what. So when I look up I get this. You view your event, and it says go to Google Calendar event.
Huh? Interesting.
And then so it's just, yeah, I don't understand that. Anyhow,
Okay.
now I think I've gone through everything I need to go through. And the question I have for you guys is, oh, what else, what questions you guys have, all right, based on this, and I'll open up the floor to you guys, okay?
So.
And I'll share where I need to, okay?
Oh, I stopped your sharing. I'm sorry. I thought you were done with the sharing screen.
I am done with sharing until we get to the spot where I need to share again.
Okay. So just to let everybody know, you are muted right now. You'll need to unmute yourself in order to speak. To do that, go ahead and put your cursor in wherever you see us, and click on the little mute microphone on the bottom left-hand side. You don't have to turn your microphone on if you don't want to. To stop the video, that just stops you being recorded, not us being recorded. And I'd encourage you all to go in there and start asking questions, or let us know what you think. Tell us your business idea names, or tell us where you are with the naming, and we can go from there.
I made it 25 minutes.
That was perfect.
So, and the other thing, the other takeaway is that we can make another one of these, more formal. This was very informal.
Sure. And so all of you know, I have, I've emailed you, those of you that I had your email addresses, I've emailed you with all of the links so that you can go there and check them yourself. I'm also going to put the recording of this video into the Slack channel. And I also, in the chat over here, up near the top of the chat, I put the Slack channel invite, so you can go in there if you'd like to do that. So would anybody be willing to share where you are with your searching for your name now? Anybody willing?
This is Melvin, and we are from Street Eats with a Z. It's one thing that I've learned from a couple of these teleconferences. We have to make sure we say with a Z now, because now people don't really know how to spell our names. But we have searched it in the search for the name Street Eats with a Z on the Secretary of State, and from what we can see, we are good with that name. And just as a heads up, with another business that I have, people, we have to make sure that when we search our names, we make sure we stay current on all of the fees, because a lot of times with the when companies search you, one of the first thing that comes up is your name on the Secretary of State website, and if your fees aren't up to date, they will suspend, even cancel you via the Secretary of State or the Franchise Tax Board, and it doesn't look good when you're going after contracts.
Great point. Great point.
I just changed my name as well from Skin World to Skinfluence. I also checked on the Secretary of State to make sure that the way that I had spelled it wasn't taken as well. Except the way that I did it was I ran a poll with my target market to see what name my target market liked better. And that seemed to really help. And different ages seem to select different names. So that's kind of how we went about it.
What was the name that you ended up with?
The name we ended up with that had the most votes was Skinfluence. The company I run or that I'm looking to build is an app. It's basically a social platform where we can.
Word?
I'm sorry?
Can you spell it? Or just type it?
Yes. The way that we spelled it, unfortunately, we couldn't spell it correctly because of it being trademarked.
That's what I was just going to check.
So it's like influence with skin. It's skinfluence.
Correct.
So can you spell it in the chat the way you're spelling it? Put it in the chat feature so that we can see it. Because I'm worried what'll happen is then people will spell it the other way, is what ends up happening with businesses.
Okay, good.
That's what I picked. Okay. So,
Oh no, that's Ahmad that wrote that. That's not Karen. So is that how you spelled it, Karen, the way Ahmad spelled it?
Oh, I have it right here.
Oh, that's going to be trouble. You're not going to be able, people aren't going to find it.
Oh.
I think, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So what's interesting is that actually Skin Influence is a live trademark.
Yeah, that's what she was saying.
Influence with an I, the way Ahmad wrote it, is trademarked. So that is the reason I changed the spelling.
Yeah, but
not the I.
You should really listen to that tape from the trademark office. Now, I can't tell you whether these guys, so let me share my screen. I'm glad you did this. This is I'm proud of you that you actually did the search.
Oh, definitely.
And you knew what you were doing, which is phenomenal. Where the hell is my share?
oh, at the bottom, the little green. So you'll have to put your cursor where the picture is. Oh, you see, you know how to do it.
Yeah. So this is what you look for, I assume, and you saw this. The challenge you face is that when you see as few things as there are here that are live, that means this is a really strong mark, really strong. And so these guys can, and this is in health spa services. Okay, who owns it?
I researched the woman. It looks like she's a nurse, like a medical nurse, like an injection nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she owns her own medical spa type facility, but she doesn't seem, her company isn't named that. She just trademarked the name.
Right. So, is there anything in commerce with this name? So in other words, if you do a Google search for Skinfluence, right? So what I'm doing right now, what pops up? There's actually that's a different person, I assume, right? Or is that the same?
Right. These all seem like dermatology offices.
They're different people though, right, Karen? Or are they the same? They're different?
That looks like somebody different than the person that I saw who trademarked the name. The person I researched, what is her name? Owner Marina.
Burrito. but I think, isn't that Perito? Yeah, this is Marina Perito. So, and Dr. Marina Perito. So what's gonna happen is, um, I don't know. So here's your problem. The problem is that likelihood of confusion is the way that things are looked at. And just taking out the I, its skinfluence is, you're pretty close to what skinfluence is with or without the I, right?
Right.
So if you took, so for instance, let's
Which for
suppose
me was the goal. But
suppose you were going to create a new phone and you were going to call it Apple with one P.
right,
What do you think?
right.
Okay.
It would be obviously a knockoff from Apple.
Yeah. And you get a cease and desist letter now. Don't know. I mean, you know, again, risk reward, right? I can't tell you that this person will come after you, but maybe not, right? And then so what's your URL? What's your IP address going to be?
We haven't bought it yet.
But have you found one?
Well, I would assume that you can't get it because look what she did. She had to go to Skinfluence NYC, which I'm sure she didn't want to do.
Right.
Okay, so that kind of tells me already that, you know what, that Skinfluence is probably not available, or you can buy it, right?
Right.
But then if you buy it, you could have a trademark issue. So, you know, then there's a whole squatting issue. That's why this stuff gets so goddamn complicated, you know? And it's crazy because, you know, for my companies, the first thing I actually do is look for the website, honest to God. Because once I get the website, then I can start playing games. I can see what's going on. I'm a little more skilled, obviously, with this stuff. But sometimes it's just better to not to have a name that anybody knows and just do it fresh. Now you understand why I said sometimes just creating a name is so much easier, right? This is hard. This is hard stuff. Okay, so, and it takes time and energy. But once you do it,
Oh, sorry.
once you do it, you're going to feel really good about it.
Oh, yeah. So there's a question, Ray, from Nydia Ramos. She wants to know if she has an incorporation, does she have to include the ink at the end of the name? Or incorporate it to the domain? No, the answer is no. Not to the domain name.
No.
Yeah.
And where else would you put it? I mean, it's up to you if you want to put it on a business card or brand it, but most people don't.
Yeah, you're not required to.
Unless you're doing like an acronym and you want the I in there, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. If you want the I for, yeah.
I mean, you know, sometimes you can play a little game, right? Like our company's name is the Commons XR. You know, we call it TCXR.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you know, we're an LLC, and that's another thing I would urge you to become. So another challenge you might want to really seriously think about is the fact that, yeah, a lot of people push you to incorporate early, right? The challenge is if you incorporate in any place other than Delaware, you're probably going to have to change anyhow, all right?
Yep.
State to state. So, because most finance guys are not going to touch you unless you're incorporated in Delaware because they can make those decisions. They can tell you, sorry, we're not going to do that.
Yeah. If we, in fact, that's one of the things, if we get the funds that I'm hoping we're going to be getting to help those of you who are filing for incorporation or LLC, we're going to recommend and maybe even require that you all incorporate in Delaware if that's where you're going to.
But the problem is you're going to pay 2 fees.
Yes. Yeah.
So you know what I do? I became an LLC in California. And guess what? I get money. I'll convert. It costs you about 20 to 30 grand to do the conversion. Now,
less than that. Isn't less than that.
It just depends upon how complicated the deal is and how much. It really comes down to your cap table, right? and
Yeah.
how many founders you have and stuff like that. The cap table, you guys are familiar with the cap table, right? So it's basically who owns shares and who's going to own shares. And if you did a friends and family, how full is that cap table, right? And that's why it starts rising in costs. But what I will say to you is that for the next 2-3 years, if you're starting out, you know, and you're not going to get financed probably for another year, then you're saving $800 for at least a year or 2 years each year, which you can spend in a billion different ways, which I think is, that's what I'm doing. So each to their own. Okay. Let's see. I can't see that. Okay, now I can. Any more questions?
If it's helpful, I actually have two different little personal name experiences I can share.
Please. This is a good spot for it.
So I work for a local luxury magazine. They're called Discover Magazines with an S, which is constantly confused with the very popular scientific magazine, Discover Magazine. So I really don't recommend that slight shift because the confusion is just horrible.
It's bad for everybody actually, because if you become if you do make it, then the confusion even gets worse, right? Because let's suppose they're on a decline, they're a publication, right? Let's say a paper publication, and you're not, and you take off, and now everybody gets totally confused of which one was it, and the URL, right? Which are they going to go to the wrong place? And then they give up because they try to look for you and they couldn't figure it out. That's even worse. So
Yeah, I agree. And that actually happened to me, and I worked for them. So.
And so that's a real life case right there. Thank you.
And then, oh, sorry. The second case is I actually have my own name that I went through the process to trademark. And I just wanted to share a little bit of that experience because it's taken me.
Oh, you actually registered it?
Yes.
Okay. You don't have to, but okay.
So I had some legal help, which was incredibly helpful because my name is the Farewell Guide. And with the name Guide in there, they actually found it to be quite descriptive. And so the USPTO had some problems with that. Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth. So I learned a lot from the experience, and the legal help pre-warned me in advance of what to expect. So I know that you can do the application on your own, but I just wanted to forewarn that this has taken me, August will be 2 years to trademark my name.
And why did you decide to register it?
Because I have the domain, I'm pushing forward with the business, and I'm doing something that's unique, and I wanted to go ahead and be the owner of it.
You wanted to protect. The only reason you do it, by the way, is for protection. Just
Yes.
like filing IP. So basically,
Mm-hmm.
the reason you're filing in that space is because what you want to do is keep other people away and make a stronger mark for yourself. Basically, that's it, and scare people off.
Yeah.
I've seen the benefit that I've seen to trademarking a name. One of the only benefits that I've seen is that, you know, it can sometimes impress investors when you're, you know, you have angels or something and they're asking, do you have any intellectual property protection? And if you can at least say yes to something, sometimes it helps. I mean, not that that's a huge benefit, but I've seen that. So
Yeah.
I mean, it shows that you're willing to spend your thought, your time, your effort to think about this, right? That's the other thing from a finance perspective. You know, as an angel investor, what you're looking for is what is it that they've done to differentiate, to maintain the differentiation, and how do they think that through, right? Because basically you're investing in the owners. So that's actually not a bad point. But again, it can be costly, so be careful.
Yeah, and it was interesting because when you do file a trademark, they give you a chance to choose if you want to be just in the United States or if you want to spend the money to trademark around the world. It was a very interesting process.
Yes. And in wording, in trademark, you pay by category. So I don't know if you guys caught this. I don't even know if it's up here right now. So if I go back and let's go back to blue water. I'm going to go share again. So what ends up happening is, how many categories were you in? You know?
I believe 3.
Phew. Okay, so you pay for each category to the USPTO.
Mm-hmm.
So it's expensive. And so what a category could be health and beauties, or it could be services, or it could be software. You know, it's different market segments. And so training, teaching is a category. I don't remember them all off the top of my head, but there's quite a few, and you can actually look it up. Let's see if I do this. I can actually show you. But when I was working for Qualcomm and I was doing this for some of my stuff, at one time we had a little character. We were doing some socialization products, and so I went around the world. I really did go around the world, and the cost was astronomical. And because we were in 3 to 4 categories, and the amount of money that they charge for a category, when you start multiplying it by 3, is enormous. So again, you don't have to register, but it's something you can do. But,
Hi,
thank you.
Talina, by the way. It's good to see it's good to see you in here. Thanks for sharing about that.
Yeah, thank you both so much for the presentation. I found it very helpful.
Awesome.
You know, the worst part for me is that you guys spent all this time and effort and you got this great idea, and this is almost ancillary, right? If you think about it, to what you're really inventing, to what you're doing innovatively. And here you go, suddenly, you know, it gets slammed in your face, and all that time and effort, now you got to redo it. And you could be spending that time and effort in building your product out, which is far more important. But at the end of the day, you're kind of stuck. And so hopefully, you know, by thinking about it ahead of time, you have a lesser chance of having to go back to it. Time is valuable.
No, that's great advice. I mean, absolutely. It's not important, but it is so important, and it can. I hate that it's making a lot of people feel stuck. And I think, I mean, how many of you out there are stuck right now on a name? You're not moving forward because of a name.
Just type in stuck.
Yeah.
If
Stuck. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, you know what I would actually suggest? If you are stuck, go to a name generator, an online name generator, I'm serious, and just put in something and see what it comes back with.
Yeah.
There's a couple. And you know what? It's not to say to go use it, but it's to clear your head and maybe get something you hadn't thought of before.
Yeah.
All right.
Beautiful. So thank you so much, Ray. I really appreciate this. I know everybody does. I'm seeing a lot of thank yous on there. If any of you want to do another workshop, just let us know. I sent you all an email with the information that Ray had shared today. If there's something else that you want to delve further into, or you want to know more about, let us know. We'll make it happen for you. Thank you. I see a lot of thank yous from everyone. Ray, do you have anything else to add before we?
I have one thing if you want to give it a shot.
Okay.
There's a little thing in here. So how many have, by the way, you can think about colors and figures for your logo. Those are all critical for trademark too, because you know what? If you get into a situation, you can at least have something that surrounds your word mark with other things, and that may save your butt. Okay?
Good point. Good point.
All right?
Thank you.
So because, hey, do you guys know if I show you what they call a robin's nest, robin's egg color
Tiffany's.
in a box?
Tiffany's.
Exactly. You knew that right away, right? Swish.
Nike, right?
Right. So, but if you stop and think about it, Nike, that's a made up, what would that mean? McDonald's, a name of a person, right? But everybody knows what it is if they see the M's. And so sometimes you can use something else, a color or shape, something to designate yourself that will become almost as important as the name itself. And that's something to think about, okay?
And I encourage all of you, if you haven't done it yet, make sure to make your branding appointments, your branding strategy appointments with Lisa, so that we can get that, we can get that going, and she can maybe help you think a little deeper into this as well. So for those of you who are at the rec, going through the program. So.
I signed up for that.
Did you? Awesome. Hey, why not? Right? Why not?
I'm very interested in seeing what I get back.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. I love that. I'm like you. I say yes to everything. You say yes to everything and see what happens, right? See what you're going to get. I got so much value from this meeting today. I think it was helpful, and I've done this many times myself and gone through that process many times. But you always pick something up, so I appreciate it.
And what I love about this as well is that for you guys, I love that the audience is willing to speak up about their own adventures in this, because it's so easy to lose time and money in this space. And it sucks. It absolutely sucks, because you shouldn't be spending a lot of money in this, and you should not be spending a lot of time if you don't need to. Let's keep you guys focused on what your product, what you're here for, which is getting your startup out the door.
Yep.
Right? MVP.
Yep.
That's what you need to do. Prove you can get a customer.
Yeah, this is secondary. We shouldn't, but it still needs to be done.
But it needs to be done. Okay.
Cool. Well, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you so much, Ray. I will be putting this in the Slack channel, the recording. Actually, right now I'm going to be presenting at a conference, and so it won't be until later tonight that you'll see it, but it'll be there. So cool. Thanks, Ray.
Thank you for
Bye,
taking
everyone.
Thank you. Took the time off from work and everything like that. Good on you. That means the priorities are in the right place.
Yeah.
Please stay safe.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye.